Little did we know when we discovered the site that it's world-class, really, in terms of the numbers of birds and the diversity of birds. It was really worthy of creating a long-term monitoring program, and so we did.
Come on in.
The most satisfying thing about this whole project is getting people up here and showing them what we do, especially the kids.
Watching it all is 81-year-old Winston Moore. Since his childhood, Winston has always loved the natural world and values the experience he had as a child growing up in the outdoors.
There's no way I can articulate what I get out of this, and I think today is particularly pleasing because you have all these little guys up here, you know, and to get them started in life, loving nature and being interested in it, they're not going to end up in trouble, I don't think, like, you know, so many of them that don't have this opportunity.
Winston believes strongly in the mission of the Idaho Bird Observatory and its commitment to education. He encourages folks to visit the site and consider donating to help fund the project.
It just has so much merit, and particularly for the youngsters.
You know, I think it's hugely important that kids today get outside as much as possible and have a connection with nature, because we're losing that, you know, in our culture. I think it's really important for the present, but not only the present, but for the future, that kids have a connection with nature and the outdoors. Because if they don't, you know, who's going to care in the future?
When I realized how little was known about songbird migration in the West, especially in montane habitats, then that was the beginning of conversations with Greg about, hey, maybe we could do something like this next year. And then we did. We started the Songbird Project in 1997. And I think, honestly, for a long time, both Greg and I, you know, we're biased. We see how important this migration study is at Lucky Peak and at Boise Peak, and how much data we get from it, how important it is to the community, how many studies we've published. But it's hard to fund long-term monitoring. And so we started to realize that here we were going to people and saying, hey, how can you help us fund our study? And instead, we needed to switch that around and say, hey, we have a lot of skills. How can we help you do things that we care about?
Fast forward a couple decades, and now we're working with many partners on impactful research and monitoring projects across much of the Intermountain West and into the Northern Great Plains. And likewise, we've developed exciting collaborative projects in Canada, Mexico, Mozambique, and Spain. In addition, we work with and mentor students of all ages, ranging from elementary school through high school, undergraduate, and graduate students. I think it would be going too far to say all our dreams have come true, but it's fun to sit back and take a moment to reflect and see how much we've grown.
The university has recently acquired management authority of a piece of property right here in Boise along the Boise River. And it's connected to about 500 acres of riparian habitat. So a perfect place to study, you know, migratory birds, study and monitor their populations and involve the public. It's not limited by, you know, by road conditions and weather. So we would be able to develop year-round programs for youth and for public that would involve them with bird banding, you know, testing water quality, planting native shrubs and you know, trees and grasses. And I mean, there's just no end to the types of programs that, you know, that we can run at this site. If I can coordinate that and make that happen in my career, I'll feel like I've been successful.
Intermountain Bird Observatory is a research and education program for mostly migratory birds. And it was started on Lucky Peak on the Boise Ridge overlooking the city of Boise in 1993. My wife and I heard about the project in 1996. We got more and more involved in it as time went on. We enjoyed being out of doors. We enjoyed the company of the people with IBO, the researchers, the grad students, the undergrad students that were coming up there to learn. We just enjoy the privilege of handling these birds, contributing to research, and also educating others about this project.
You know, you can't solve everybody's problems. You can't solve the world's problems. You can't solve the environmental problems by yourself. But you could do a little bit. And by doing a little bit, that makes a difference in that small area. So that's what we could contribute.
This has been an important part of our life. We feel like we have received more from IBO than we have ever given.
Was my first time in the United States and out from Mozambique. Was good experience in birds. I learned to banded, the sunbird, even raptors. I love him. It's my new family. When I leave, I will miss this place. And the people, it's wonderful. They are great.
Curlews are a North American shorebird, the largest North American shorebird, and they breed in the Intermountain West and grassland habitats across the Great Plains. Part of what IBO is doing is trying to get at full annual cycle research. We've seen declines in this local breeding area, but we don't know if that's due to threats that they're facing in the breeding area or threats that they're facing on the wintering grounds. So that's why we're putting transmitters on them so that we can kind of connect breeding areas to wintering grounds and see what they might be exposed to down in the wintering area.
We have a 3-year grant from the National Science Foundation to bring a number of undergraduates to Boise State University in the summertime to learn how to do science, and specifically science on raptors, which are birds of prey. Today we're on a field trip with one of those REU students, and his project is focused on ospreys, and so we're at Lake Cascade. We just pulled a number of osprey off of a nesting platform, and Mike, the REU student, is getting a chance to band those birds.
I applied for this REU and I got it, and they flew me out, and it's just been so awesome. I mean, check this guy out. Like, it's just so amazing.
It's been an amazing learning experience. It's something that I would have never imagined I would have had a chance to do.
I'm very happy to be here and not only sitting and having lessons, but having practicing. In Mozambique, I don't think that we have any birds migration monitoring, so Gorongosa is going to be the first one, and I'm so glad to be the first one doing that, so we can teach another people, engage more people in this, and maybe change some of the minds about birds and other things.
We're here in Mozambique at Gorongosa National Park. We've developed a relationship with the park here to study birds over the next 5 or 6 years. And one of the first pressing bird conservation issues that I felt was most important was to study the vultures here.
It's really a unique study that I don't think you can do any other place in Africa. This is a unique opportunity to sort of see how vultures mesh together and come together in this kind of an ecosystem. The other 2 team members, Eric and Greg, are ex-students of mine, and they've invited me to be part of this project. I'm honored. So I'm here as the old man to, to help them learn. Oh, this is stupid. I'm getting all choked up.
We can walk away.
So we had 3 classes of second graders down today from a Meridian Elementary School. In October, we had about 150 volunteers down here. They planted 2,000 seedlings. And today, the second graders were practicing with their real-life data sheets, being scientists, and they were recording for us the survival of our seedlings in all of our different plots. It was really fun to actually be able to tell these second graders, like, you guys are collecting data that's answering a question that us as scientists, like, we don't even have the answers yet.
When I was a kid, I didn't know that you could be a scientist when you grew up. I thought maybe you could be a veterinarian or a zookeeper if you liked animals. And so opening up this whole new world to kids, and the first way to do that is to just bring them down and put a little bird in their hand and just watch what happens.
We've brought all these groups together and all these partners and collected about 150 volunteers down here today to put plants in the ground. So kind of a lot, and it's been amazing to see the volunteers get to work and put plants in the ground and get excited about the restoration that we're doing down here.
Every year I've brought at least one group of students up to Lucky Peak for an overnight field trip. So they've not only gotten to see the songbird banding happen in the morning and get to hold songbirds in their own hands, but students get to stay up all night and watch owl trapping happen, and then hang out in the afternoon and do hawk trapping too. So I think it's helped them appreciate how much diversity there is in the bird community locally and spend some time outdoors that they otherwise wouldn't. As soon as you put that bird on their hand and it flies away, they're like, "Can I do another one?" And you see that click. You know, they're so excited, and they kind of realize this new connection with nature that maybe they weren't that excited about before, and now, you know, they care.